Good morning. I'm just delighted to join Dean Miller in welcoming you, class of 2016, to Yale College. I want to welcome also the relatives and friends who have accompanied you here, and especially your parents. As a father of 4 college graduates, I know how proud your parents are, you parents are, of your children's achievements, and how hopeful you are for their future, and how many concerns, both large and small, that you have at this moment. So let me try to reassure you. Your children are going to love it here. And I expect that you are going to enjoy your association with Yale, whether you are a returning graduate or one of the vast majority of parents who never set foot in New Haven until your children started to think about where to go to college. You may take comfort in learning that surveys have shown that Yale parents are the most satisfied in the Ivy League. So welcome to the Yale family. We're pleased to have your children with us, and we will do our best to provide them with abundant opportunities to learn and thrive in the years ahead. And to you, class of 2016, welcome. I suspect that you have many different reasons for being here. You may have chosen to attend Yale College because you heard it was a place that attracted unusually talented and interesting students. Perhaps you were impressed by the depth and breadth of our 2,000 course offerings. You may have been drawn to the idea of residential colleges, communities that are microcosms of the student body and that inspire lifelong loyalties. You may have learned about the diverse array of undergraduate organizations here devoted to politics, debate, journalism, and community service, organizations that will give you a chance to develop your skills as leaders and as collaborators. You may have been drawn by Yale's superlative undergraduate arts organizations, from chamber orchestras to dramatic societies, from dance ensembles to a cappella singing groups. You may have been recruited to one of our 35 varsity athletic teams with their outstanding coaches and facilities. You may have learned about our commitment to sustainability and been interested to join one of our environmental groups or to work on the Yale farm. Or you may have been excited by the extraordinary array of international experiences open to you as students in Yale College. All of these are good reasons to find Yale a school worthy of 4 years of your time. But I thought that I might focus this morning on an aspect of Yale that you might not have considered, and that is the special advantages of your having chosen to attend a college that is situated within one of the world's great research universities. This distinction means, first, that the faculty who will teach you here are leading scholars in their respective fields, among the world's very best. And second, that you will have access here to virtually unmatched library and museum resources. Consider first the extraordinary collections that are available to you in the Yale University Art Gallery, the Yale Center for British Art, and the Yale Peabody Museum of Natural History. Dozens of your professors in literature, history, the history of art, anthropology, geology, ecology, and evolutionary biology will make use of these museum resources in the courses you take. And perhaps some of you will join with other students in actually curating your own museum exhibit. Last spring, 4 undergraduates collaborated with curators and conservators at the Yale Center for British Art to study the materials and techniques used in the creation of early English wood panel paintings. They created an exhibit that was on display here at the center from April through July. A year earlier, Yale students collaborated with other students at the University of Maryland to create an exhibit on African American art drawn from Yale's collections that was shown both here at our art gallery and on the University of Maryland campus. Now, even if you don't engage quite as deeply as to curate an exhibit, I would nonetheless urge you to visit our museums. You may discover there a love of art or a love of nature that enriches your entire life. Our libraries are an endless source of discovery for students who wish to engage in archival research. You'll find materials there that allow you to undertake projects that go far beyond what might be possible elsewhere. Some years ago, one undergraduate discovered the uncatalogued papers of a deceased professor, and in them he found that a faculty organization called the Yale Library Project had provided cover for a very important World War II intelligence mission. Just this week, I learned from a high school student who was working in the archives of the Beinecke Library about his discovery of the methods used by late 19th century railroads to finance their sale of farmland to settlers in the northern plains of the United States. It turns out that the railroad strategies for helping landowners remain on their farms during periods of financial hardship were much more effective than our current efforts to protect homeowners from foreclosure during the current recession. Now consider next some examples of the astonishingly creative and original work of the faculty who will be teaching your courses. Earlier this year, Professor John Lewis Gaddis, professor of history, won the Pulitzer Prize for his brilliant biography of George Kennan, the diplomat and architect of the United States Cold War strategy. Recently, a group of scientists led by Rick Prum, a professor of ecology and evolutionary biology, was able to deduce from fossils the colors of feathers on a dinosaur. Geologist Zhengrong Wang has demonstrated that carbon can be captured from the atmosphere and sequestered not in gaseous or liquid form beneath the Earth's surface, but in solid form by catalyzing a reaction to transform subsurface rocks into calcium and magnesium carbonate. This is one of several technologies that Yale scientists are pursuing in the hope of finding solutions to the problem of global warming. Historian Timothy Snyder has shown in his recent book, Bloodlands, the ideological and practical connections between the Nazi extermination of the Jews and other East Europeans and the Soviet extermination of the same populations. In her path-breaking work, The Ornament of the Mind, Professor Maria Rosa Menachal demonstrated that the Middle Ages in Spain were not a time of darkness and superstition, but a period in which Muslim, Christian, and Jewish literature, philosophy, and architecture flourished and profoundly influenced one another. In the western desert of Egypt, archaeologist John Darnell has unearthed a lost city, a site of a massive bread-making industry more than 3,500 years ago. And finally, to complete this list of amazing research projects, your dean, Mary Miller, has just given you a glimpse of her immense knowledge of Mesoamerican history, art, and culture. In her own work of rediscovery, she has employed infrared photography to produce enhanced high-resolution images of the Mayan murals at Bonampak. And she's used these images as a platform for seminal reinterpretations of Mayan art, architecture, and civilization. What's remarkable about studying here in Yale College is that you will have direct access to these scholars and many others. Distinguished as they are in research, they are also committed to teaching you. You will take their courses, participate in their seminars, have the opportunity to work as their research assistants, or do independent research under their supervision. Most of the projects I just described involve students in some capacity, but here are a few more in which the role of students is front and center. Consider, for example, Professor Scott Strobel's course in which undergraduates travel over spring break to a tropical rainforest to gather endophytes. These are microorganisms that are found in abundance on plants. The students then return to Yale where they work for the balance of the spring semester and throughout the summer to characterize the organisms they have found and discover their properties. On recent rainforest expeditions, students have found several organisms that effectively degrade plastic. One in particular is capable of breaking down polyurethane in the absence of oxygen, holding great promise for practical use in the biodegradation of buried trash. Or perhaps you'll be intrigued by the opportunity to hunt for exoplanets, bodies that orbit around stars other than our own sun. You could do this under the supervision of Professor Deborah Fisher and her colleagues in astronomy. Professor Fisher helped to launch an online citizen science project called Planet Hunters, which engages 40,000 web users in the search for exoplanets using data gathered from a NASA space mission. 3 Yale College students collaborated on the first published paper from the Planet Hunter project, announcing the discovery of 2 previously unidentified exoplanets. 2 other undergraduates are co-authors on a paper describing another discovery that will soon be published. One of the students involved in the first paper is now working on a team that has developed a new device capable of doubling the precision of the Keck telescope, making the world's largest telescope even more powerful. And finally, if you'd like to combine an interest in the performing arts with serious study, you might consider participation in the Yale Baroque Opera Project. Conceived by the eminent musicologist Ellen Rosand, who's made major contributions to our understanding of early music, the Baroque Opera Project introduces students to the historical, aesthetic, and performance issues related to the Italian opera of the 17th and early 18th century. They do this in their coursework and then mount 2 full-scale productions each year. These examples illustrate how you might benefit from participating in the work of a university committed to path-breaking research. I encourage you in the strongest possible terms to take full advantage of the people and resources here. Don't be shy. Yale's faculty, libraries, and museums are here for you. If you want to get engaged with the amazing research activities that go on here, don't hesitate to ask a professor, a librarian, or a museum curator. They'll welcome your interest. And let me go one step farther. If you want to get the most from your Yale education, you have to be adventurous. Do not content yourself with a familiar path. As you choose your courses, try something different, an expository or creative writing class, statistics instead of more calculus, or new language, even as you pursue further study of one you already know. Sign up for courses and projects that will challenge you. You may never again have so much opportunity to explore new ideas, to test out new directions, to pursue different routes to discovering your true passion. Stretch yourself. And I offer the same advice in connection with the activities outside the classrooms and museums and libraries. Seek out the unfamiliar. If the friends you make here are exclusively those who come from backgrounds just like your own, and who went to high schools just like your own, you will have forfeited half the value of a Yale education. You come from 54 nations, from a wide range of racial, religious, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Each of your residential colleges contains within itself that rich diversity. Seek out friends with different histories and different interests. You will find that you learn the most from people the least like you. In the same way as you choose your extracurricular activities, try to move beyond the familiar. Try at least one activity that is brand new to you. Volunteer for community service and begin to understand how what you have learned here might be of value to others. Work or study abroad in one of our many summer programs and see the world from a different perspective. And so, women and men of the class of 2016, you may have come here for many different reasons. But now that you're about to begin your 4-year journey of discovery, take note that you've come to one of the world's great research universities. And this presents you with very special opportunities. Learn from your teachers the joy of participating in the advancement of human understanding of nature and culture. Draw upon the abundant resources of our libraries, museums, and laboratories. Stretch yourselves to your limits, intellectually and interpersonally. Your effort will be richly rewarded. Thank you.